In a world where royal protocols are tightly scripted, public appearances are choreographed to the second, and emotions are often carefully veiled beneath regal stoicism, the Danish monarch King Frederik X has done something truly extraordinary. During a majestic and diplomatically charged royal visit, the king revealed an unexpected side of himself, not with words, but through tender, rare, and deeply human gestures toward the woman who stood beside him for over 2 decades, Queen Mary of Denmark. It wasn't an official declaration. It wasn't a grand royal announcement. It wasn't even written in a palace press release. Instead, it was in the fleeting moments, the unguarded smiles, the soft brush of a hand, and the lingering gaze that refused to follow the expected royal script. These were not just any gestures. They were public displays of affection, PDAs, rare and subtly powerful acts from a king typically reserved, serious, and intensely aware of his role as Denmark's head of state. But in those moments, he wasn't just a monarch. He was a man, a husband, and someone deeply moved by the presence of the woman he loves. The recent royal tour took King Frederik and Queen Mary across key Danish regions, official institutions, and cultural landmarks. It was more than just an obligation of state. It was a ceremonial passage for Denmark's new king and queen to reaffirm their commitment to the people, both domestically and internationally. But hidden within the pomp and circumstance was something far more intimate, a love story quietly unfolding under the watchful eyes of the press and public. From Copenhagen to Aarhus, every step was captured by flashing cameras, eager journalists, and adoring citizens. Yet despite the spotlight, King Frederik chose this moment in history to do something completely unexpected: allow the public a glimpse into the private emotional bond he shares with Queen Mary. Let's unpack the most breathtaking, heartwarming, and symbolic public displays of affection King Frederik shared with Queen Mary during this majestic journey. In one of the earliest moments that captured the attention of royal watchers, King Frederik was seen reaching out to gently take Queen Mary's hand during a formal ceremony at the Danish parliament. Cameras caught the king turning slightly toward her, his fingers brushing hers before entwining them fully. This gesture broke from typical royal tradition. Royals often avoid public hand-holding unless in casual settings. But this wasn't just a quick clasp, it was lingering, intentional, and filled with meaning. Analysts later noted that it happened just as Mary appeared to adjust her posture, seemingly overwhelmed by the crowd's reaction. The king, sensing her slight unease, reached for her, not just as a husband, but as a protector. During a balcony appearance at Amalienborg Palace, King Frederik was caught gazing at Queen Mary with an expression that sent social media into a frenzy. It wasn't the standard composed look of a monarch waving to the crowds. It was a moment where the royal mask slipped, revealing pure admiration, love, and a deep emotional connection. Lip readers and body language experts were quick to analyze the footage. According to royal analyst Anne Elizabeth Mahler, it was the look of a man who is not just proud of his wife, but in awe of her. The footage went viral on platforms like Instagram and TikTok, with fans worldwide captioning the video, "Find someone who looks at you the way Frederik looks at Mary." At a formal gala dinner hosted in Aarhus, Queen Mary stepped onto the red carpet in a flowing floor-length navy gown, trailing behind her with elegance. As she paused to wave at well-wishers, a gust of wind caught the hem of her dress. Before their royal aides could even react, King Frederik stepped forward and adjusted the gown himself, smoothing the hem with care. It was a split-second gesture, barely a moment in time, but it was enough to tell the world, this king sees and honors every detail of his queen's presence. Such an action may appear minor, but for a monarch, it's monumental. In royal tradition, moments of vulnerability are handled by staff. For a king to perform such a task shows a deeply rooted love, humility, and respect. At a memorial service for war veterans during the same tour, the royal couple stood side by side in front of a monument. As the crowd hushed in solemn silence, Frederik's hand gently touched the small of Queen Mary's back, not for the cameras, not for show, but as a silent support system in a moment of reflection. This act, subtle and soft, carried the weight of 2 decades of partnership, countless state engagements, and the quiet intimacy that only a shared life can build. Observers noted that he maintained the touch throughout the entire 2-minute silence, gently rubbing his thumb in circles, a comforting rhythm for both of them. As the curtains fell on this majestic royal tour, one thing became crystal clear. Beyond the titles, the tiaras, the duties, and diplomacy, there exists an enduring love between King Frederik and Queen Mary, a love that is quiet yet thunderous, traditional yet boundary-breaking, and most importantly, a love that resonates deeply with people around the world. Perhaps that's the true power of monarchy in the 21st century, not in grand declarations or rigid formality, but in these human moments that speak to all of us. In a rare and scheduled break during the visit, King Frederik and Queen Mary were spotted taking a quiet walk through the beautifully manicured gardens of a heritage estate. There were no speeches, no formalities, and no royal aides surrounding them, just the two of them walking side by side. But it was what happened during that walk that set royal watchers into a frenzy. King Frederik casually reached into his coat pocket and pulled out a pair of gloves. He gently took Queen Mary's hand and began slipping the glove onto her fingers, shielding her from the crisp spring air. What seemed like a small gesture was actually profoundly intimate. In royal circles, spontaneous affection during private-public moments is almost unheard of. The message was clear. Even in the middle of a tour packed with responsibilities, he prioritized her comfort over protocol. One afternoon, as the royal couple appeared on a palace balcony for a press moment with children waving flags below, something extraordinary occurred. The cameras captured a rare burst of laughter from Queen Mary, and then, moments later, King Frederik joined in. At first, it was unclear what prompted the moment. But according to royal photographers on the scene, Queen Mary had spotted a child in the crowd dressed in a homemade crown and cape labeled, "Little King Fred." She pointed it out to her husband, who immediately burst into hearty laughter, clutching her arm as he doubled over briefly. This moment of levity, unscripted, real, and charming, was a reminder of the couple's shared sense of humor, an often hidden layer beneath the grandeur. Social media was flooded with captions like, "Even kings laugh hardest with their queens." In one of the most high-stakes events of the entire visit, King Frederik prepared to give an address to parliamentarians and cultural leaders. The room was hushed with anticipation. Cameras clicked. Queen Mary stood beside him, hands clasped. As the king approached the podium, he paused, turned slightly, and gave Mary's hand a gentle squeeze, just one squeeze, and then he walked to the microphone. That squeeze was not lost on anyone. Body language experts commented later. That was a silent message, a way to say, "I've got this, and thank you for being my rock." At a farewell event near the harbor before departing back to Copenhagen, Queen Mary appeared visibly moved by a tribute performance from schoolchildren. As the couple turned to leave the stage, cameras caught a split-second embrace, Frederik wrapping an arm around her back and leaning into her ear. It wasn't dramatic. It wasn't orchestrated. It was deeply sincere. Royal protocol might have frowned upon such intimacy in a public setting, but Frederik, ever the modern monarch, seemed unconcerned. He wasn't breaking the rules, he was redefining them with grace. As the visit concluded and the royal couple boarded the state vehicle to return to Amalienborg Palace, photographers caught the king opening the car door for his wife, a gesture that, while common in romantic novels and films, is seldom practiced by reigning monarchs. But Frederik didn't stop there. As Queen Mary stepped in, he paused, looked at her, and whispered something with a smile that lit up both of their faces. Cameras captured the sparkle in her eyes, the look of a woman cherished not only by her country, but more intimately, by her partner. Royal historian Line Kargard commented in a Danish daily, "King Frederik is subtly reshaping what it means to be a monarch in the 21st century. In showing love, humility, and devotion to his queen, he is teaching us that true strength lies in tenderness." Across the globe, these rare PDA moments triggered an avalanche of social media response. Hashtags like royal romance, Frederik and Mary, and modern monarchy trended for days on platforms like Twitter and TikTok. Royal enthusiasts created montage videos, romantic slideshows, and even emotional music overlays of King Frederik's gestures. Some dubbed the couple the Nordic lovebirds, while others praised their ability to balance duty and emotion. TikTok creator at Royal Vibes posted a clip of the balcony gaze with the caption, "This isn't just a king. This is a man deeply in love." The video gained over 4 million views within 48 hours. Even rival royal watchers from the UK and Spain admitted that King Frederik and Queen Mary have become a gold standard for royal couples navigating the modern age with authenticity. To understand the weight of King Frederik's actions, we must view them through the lens of royal history, a history often marked by restraint, formality, and calculated appearances. Take Queen Margrethe II, Frederik's mother and Denmark's former monarch. Revered for her intellect, strength, and unshakable devotion to the crown, Margrethe rarely let personal emotion eclipse the public stage. Her marriage to Prince Henrik, though warm and enduring, was rarely punctuated by public shows of affection. Their love, though real, was communicated in subtle nods, shared glances, artistic collaborations, and intellectual respect. King Frederik, by contrast, is breaking new ground. He is demonstrating a new model of kingship, one where vulnerability and humanity do not detract from, but rather enhance, royal dignity. Even comparisons to other monarchs, such as Britain's King Charles or Spain's King Felipe, reveal striking differences. While King Felipe and Queen Letizia are often photographed hand in hand, few reigning monarchs have allowed their love to manifest in the everyday, unscripted manner that Frederik and Mary now model. Body language specialist Mette Jacobsen, who has studied the royal couple for over a decade, remarked, "King Frederik's gestures are not random. They follow an emotional logic, subtle but consistent. Every touch, every glance serves as silent communication. He's reaffirming a lifelong bond in front of his people. He's saying, 'This woman is my equal, my strength, and my heart.'" Jacobsen also noted that Queen Mary often mirrors his energy. Notice how she leans slightly toward him during speeches or touches his arm when he looks tired. It's a synchrony built over years of partnership. The importance of this shift cannot be overstated. In an age where monarchies are constantly challenged to remain relevant, authenticity is becoming a powerful currency. By allowing glimpses into their private affection, King Frederik and Queen Mary are doing more than sharing their love, they are humanizing the crown. Millennials and Gen Z viewers, especially, are resonating with this change. A recent poll conducted by Danish publication Bild Bladet showed a 32% spike in young adults' approval of the monarchy since Frederik's ascension. Respondents cited his relatable emotions, kind eyes, and genuine love for Mary as key reasons. By moving beyond the image of distant royalty and embracing transparency, the royal couple may be ensuring the very survival of the Danish monarchy. Their story, from the very beginning, has captivated millions. An Australian-born woman meeting a Danish prince at a Sydney bar during the 2000 Olympics seemed like the beginning of a fairy tale. But what's unfolded since has been something more, a story of compromise, adaptation, cultural fusion, and enduring partnership. Queen Mary gave up her homeland, her anonymity, and her independence to step into one of Europe's most prestigious, but also most scrutinized, roles. In return, King Frederik has not only supported her, but elevated her. Through these quiet acts of PDA, we are reminded that love doesn't always require grand declarations. Sometimes, it exists in the soft brush of a hand or a whisper before a toast. As the royal visit wrapped up, commentators across Europe reflected on what had just occurred, not just a ceremonial success, but a symbolic rejuvenation of Denmark's royal image. In a time of global uncertainty, political division, and cultural shifts, the sight of a king placing his hand gently on the small of his wife's back offered a rare moment of clarity. In that instant, tradition met tenderness. Duty met devotion. Power met love. With more international tours scheduled and Denmark's role on the global stage evolving, it remains to be seen how King Frederik and Queen Mary will continue shaping their reign. But one thing is certain: the bond they share, vivid, grounded, and evolving, is at the heart of this new era. And for the people of Denmark, and admirers around the world, that bond is more than inspiring. It is a reminder that love, no matter how royal or restrained, will always find a way to shine through. As King Frederik redefines kingship through moments of emotion and openness, we ask you this: in a world where leadership often demands stoicism, could love be the most powerful force a monarch can show? Let us know what you think in the comments below.